I want to live in a world where it's possible that a rakish star hockey player is just sleeping with all these women and giving them so many orgasms because he's making them feel safe.
Yeah,
And,
no, you're right.
you
You're
know,
right. Yeah, 100%.
and giving so much 5-play, 6-play.
Love 6-play. Hi, I'm Ariel Cohen.
Hey, I'm Morgan Smith.
And we are the hosts of Faking It with Ariel and Morgan.
We are two actual qualified intimacy coordinators here to talk about the spicy scenes you see in film and TV.
Hell yeah.
I wanted to see if you wanted to talk about this on the pod. The scandal in the intimacy coordinator community of people pretending to be intimacy coordinators.
hot topic.
The thing is, with any job in this industry, there are fakers. Not the cool kind that listen to this podcast. I feel like we just need to put out a PSA to let the people know there are folks who are saying they're intimacy coordinators and either have no training, very minimal training. By minimal, I mean like 1 2-hour class, or they're making fake certifications from actual accredited certification programs, or they're getting certified at non-accredited certification programs.
Okay, one of the jobs we perform is we are able to, let's say, mitigate any beginnings of PTSD symptoms. So if I see nails are digging into hands, or someone's starting to hyperventilate, eyes are getting unfocused or glazed over, then I know that we need to take a second without my actor saying, hey, I may or may not need a break. Sometimes they verbally cannot articulate that, but I can see the signs and I could say, hey, let's take a 5-minute break. Or I can say to production, hey, let's pause for a second and see how many more takes we actually need to get because I think the actor is losing steam here. Or even just talk to the actor for a moment, see if they just want to do some breathing exercises. If we're not there to do that, if someone doesn't know that that's happening, the actor can experience, worst case scenario, mental breakdown, but the production can be sued for distress in a working environment.
If they can show that you didn't do your due diligence to find out, is this person actually a legitimate intimacy coordinator, or maybe you knew that they weren't and hired them because they were going to be a lot less expensive.
You can also waste a lot of time on set because they don't know how to prep appropriately. They don't know how to ask about boundaries. People can have sexual assault situations or sexual misconduct situations. And I mean, that can happen anywhere at any time, but having an intimacy coordinator who can mitigate these disasters before they occur. I was told by an actor 2 days ago, well, it's better to have any intimacy coordinator than no intimacy coordinator because at least someone is there to talk to. But I'm hearing of untrained intimacy coordinators who the actor will state a boundary and the untrained intimacy coordinator will say, okay, can you tell that to production? It'll mean more if you tell them.
Here's my response to that argument. Just having someone there is better.
Mm-hmm.
I have gone onto sets where the makeup person is so happy I'm there because before intimacy coordinators were a thing, it was usually the makeup artist or a wardrobe person who was asked to just be there for those scenes. First of all, those people have another job to do. Secondly, those people aren't trained on how to deal with some of the scenes that we deal with. When you sign up to be a makeup artist, you're not signing up to be a part of a non-consensual scene. You're not signing up to be a part of a group sex scene. Like, for you as a person, it may not be good. You also may not know how to navigate that. Just having a person standing there doesn't do that much. If I was acting in a scene and I knew that someone who didn't know what the fuck they were doing was there pretending to be an intimacy coordinator for the day, that would make me more stressed because then now I'm having to think of the things that they may not know to do. Now I'm trying to do their job for them, right?
You cannot be an intimacy coordinator and have a second job simultaneously on a shoot. If you're hair and makeup that day and you're somehow ICing, you're doing hair and makeup on someone, which means you are not paying attention to any other person in the space or room. If you're doing last looks on someone, that means you're not paying attention to anything else that's going on. You have motivations outside of being there to facilitate conversations interdepartmentally. You are also there to make sure they look really pretty. And you're coming from a different perspective, or make sure they look really ugly, depending on what the hair and makeup situation is.
They look like they just got hit by a car.
Yeah. If you're watching a simulated sex scene and they have a giant scar on their chest, which happens, and then they roll over and the scar starts to fall off, you may not notice that the actress is putting her nails in her palms and breathing heavily. You may just be focused on that scar and like, oh no, the scar fell. You can pay attention to both things. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you can't do your job to the best of its ability.
At the end of the day, this is a safety position, and the intention of a safety position shouldn't be split. There's even conversations about first AD's job being split between the person who's managing the schedule for the day and being the head of safety, because those are two really big jobs and sometimes conflicting jobs. Sometimes the safer thing to do takes up more time, and sometimes you need to hurry things along to make the day. And I know that there are first ADs who feel this way.
I made the joke, but it's not a joke. Well, I guess I'll just be IC/gaffer from now on. I have no idea how to be a gaffer. I know nothing about it. But hey, they're paying me for both roles, so I guess I'll try it out. Like,
Right.
I don't like this idea that our job is something people intrinsically understand how to do. Yes, it's very new still, but it has developed out of very specific needs, and it has developed over time to be what it is today. There's a lot involved in it. It is a coordinator position. It is a department head position. So it's like the audacity. You know what I mean?
The audacity.
The audacity. Should we get into our project?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today, we are covering off campus. Now, quick content warning. We will be mentioning sexual assault in the context of the scene, but the scene itself we're watching is totally consensual.
There are definitely going to be spoilers. This is a new show. We recognize that. So if you don't want to hear
For sure.
spoilers, go watch it and then come back to us. But
Yeah.
if you don't care, join us and continue on this journey.
We're covering a scene from episode 4, so anything
Yes.
after that we probably won't discuss.
Yeah, and I think I only watched episode 5, so I definitely don't have any information past that. But, yeah.
Okay. So tell me what's behind these noises. What's your experience of off campus?
Myself and another IC sat and watched the first, I want to say 4 or 5 episodes of the show, something like that. And at first I'm like, what is this? What is this? This is like 27 dresses level 2000s, like quirky, manic pixie dream girl energy and like quiet jock energy. I didn't think I'd be able to make it past 1 episode. I have a lot of feelings about some of the nudity choices. I have a lot of feelings about a lot of it, but I did enjoy kind of hate watching it. I just kept going after a while, but I did stop after a certain point.
Totally fair. And at first I had a similar reaction to you where I was like, obviously this is a romance novel. And at first I could not get into it. And then I got to the episode, specifically this scene we're going to cover. And all of a sudden I did a 180 and it was like, wait a second. This is actually great. The show does a really gorgeous job about talking about sex after experiencing an assault. And I was not expecting that from this show.
I had conflicted feelings about that, actually. There's a moment where Hannah is like, I just want you to know something. I was sexually assaulted. I have gotten therapy. I am over it. Let's move on. And I was like, fucking yes! Hell yeah! Okay, it doesn't have to define your entire life. This is the first time in any show I have ever seen anything like that. It is always like trauma, 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 trauma. It's not to say that it is not a traumatic experience and that it does not affect you at all. I just really appreciated the depiction of someone who has experienced it and has been able to sort of take their power back and move on and experience sex and enjoy sex again, not be a victim, but be a survivor of these experiences. And I was so delighted by that, truly. The other IC and I like high-fived, but then she does have issues right afterwards. And I went, aw.
I think it's okay that it's not a perfectly linear journey.
It's never a perfectly linear journey, these experiences, and I understand that.
Let's get into the scene.
Yeah.
So, context for people who have not watched the show or not gotten to this point. Off campus, we're in season 1, episode 4, The Breakup. Show was created by Louisa Levy. Showrunners are Gina Fattore and Louisa Levy, based on the book series by Elle Kennedy. Episode was directed by Samantha Bailey. Intimacy coordinated by Catherine Cadler. We have Ella Bright as Hannah Wells and Belmont Camelli as Garrett Graham. We're at the fictional campus of Briar University. Garrett Graham, the entitled womanizing captain of the hockey team, needs to get his grade up in philosophy or he won't be able to play this season. Hannah Wells, a hockey-hating music major, won't be able to afford tuition if she doesn't win Briar U's pop music competition. Her crush, Justin, doesn't know she exists. Garrett asks Hannah to tutor him. In exchange, he'll pretend to date her to get Justin's attention. While pretending to be a couple, the two of them get closer. Justin invites her to come over to his place while his roommates are gone. She shares with Garrett that she was raped in high school. She has been in therapy and is in a better place. What she needs Garrett's help with is that she hasn't been able to achieve orgasm with a partner since. She can get one with herself, but she wants to get a partnered orgasm over with so she won't panic with Justin. Garrett agrees. Hannah has arrived at Garrett's wearing her tiny roommate's even tinier dress that's giving let's rip this Band-Aid dress off. But Garrett has a different approach. And then for those who want to watch along, we're at time code 1334.
May I pause for a second?
Yes.
Okay, the conversation that they had in the gym where it's like, no two men in the history of mankind have had this conversation, let alone in a gym. Where he's standing there and he's like, you want to learn how to make your girl orgasm? And he's like, yes. And he's like, not all girls orgasm. And he's like, not an option. He's like, okay, she needs to feel safe. And she needs to...
Yes!
ah!
It's giving the fantasy, Ariel. We're in a romance.
I know. And I read nothing but romance books. And in a book, I would just follow along and be like, cool, sounds good. But it is a different thing entirely to see two men have this conversation in a gym. Don't get me wrong. Positive masculinity. Absolutely fantastic. My nails are a jazz fingering as we go. Okay, hooray. Yeah. But my God, is that the most unrealistic conversation I've ever seen in the history of mankind?
Hey, sometimes we need to see it first.
Okay, respect and fair.
Yeah.
And I'm happy it was there.
Me too. That scene came up and I truly was like, oh my God, what? Am I going to have an orgasm right now just listening to this conversation? This is not what I was expecting. I have not read the books. I heard from a friend who's read them that the hockey players don't quite have this outlook in the book, but I love that they made that choice for the show because I do think it's good to demonstrate that you can have that conversation and also to put it so plainly too.
I think for me, what was more jarring about the conversation was the location. Doing this in a gym felt very strange to me. And B, because the character who's doing it, who's mentioning this advice, is supposed to be the sort of rakish bro character who's hooking up with everyone. And I was like, it's fascinating and confusing. And I love it, but also, I don't know.
I want to live in a world where it's possible that a rakish star hockey player is just sleeping with all these women and giving them so many orgasms because he's making them feel safe.
You're right. You're right. 100%.
And giving so much 5-play, 6-play.
Love 6-play. All right, so she's in a very tight dress. He's in sweatpants.
Anything else?
Between you and me, Morgan, I just feel like they dressed her up to look like a 40-year-old divorcee, and it just confuses me. I'm like, she is supposed to be 19 years old. What is with this makeup and earrings?
The thing is, a 40-year-old divorcee is dressing like a 20-something who's trying to get laid. So
you're right. You're right. You're right.
I love that he's turned around while she's changing, even though they are going to have sex. That's the plan.
Wait, the thing he just did is my favorite thing that anyone ever does. Okay.
What?
Okay. This happens for a split second in Buffy also. I had to hit my plan to talk about this. Okay. When the men turn around and face camera while someone is changing behind them, the person they like, and they grit their teeth and you see the tension in the jaw. Like they're doing everything in their power not to turn around. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, because he wants her.
Yeah. Can we go back 10 seconds so we can watch it again?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Here we go.
But not until you want me to.
Hot.
It's so hot. I love it. And here, the grit.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
All right, so she's putting on a t-shirt and it's covering this dress and she's taking off the dress. She's doing the underwear trick where she takes off the dress underneath the shirt without showing anything.
I love it. I love that he offered her a comfortable outfit to wear.
I know. And nothing is sexier. I love it. The t-shirt, it might be longer than the dress was.
Oh, for sure it is.
Yeah. So he's facing her. His body language is so uncomfortable. His arms are like behind his back.
I love it. I love how she's coming with the energy of like, let's fucking go. And he's like, hold up a sec.
Ew, that's awful.
Let's set the mood. Let's put a song on.
Especially because she's a music major.
That's a great point. I also love that he just has like hockey generic things on the wall.
Wait,
yes.
Is this one of the most played songs?
Okay. I love he has Garrett Street on the wall too.
I'm setting the mood.
His name is Garrett. What a mood. What a vibe.
This is his most played song.
It's a great song.
It is.
The song is
So she's sitting on the bed and he's doing a little sexy little dance. Little shoulder action, little thumbs up action. He's grooving closer. He's loosening up the vibe.
Yes.
Morgan, will you dance with me?
I'll dance. I love the dorky dances too. Like, we're not trying to be sexy anymore, and that makes it sexy.
We had a grease lightning in there for a second.
We did.
Her back to his front. Now, the song fades. It faces closer. And her hand is touching his shoulder, and she looks at his lips. And he's looking at her lips, and she looks back at his eyes and looks back at his lips. I like to call that the V formation.
The V.
Kissing. It's cute. Like, not too much tension in the jaw, looking very nice.
Because they're relaxed now.
Kissing, she's touching his neck. Breath is good. Pacing's good. All right, so then he lifts her up. And I think she's supposed to be straddling around his waist, but we're very close on their faces, so it's a little hard to tell, but I think that's what's happening. He moves her to the bed. Oh, they cheated around that moment. Smart. It's very hard to have a straddled person put on the bed gently in a way that looks good. He's above her on the bed. He is between her spread legs at this moment, but her legs are down. It's interesting. He's kissing her neck, his hand down her thigh. He might be going up her shirt. And then she's maybe having a problem. She's not enjoying it anymore. He's possibly manually stimulating her. She's like holding on to him. She's having a panic attack. See, remember when we talked about audience putting nails into fists? She was putting her nails and digging it into the bed, which is different than that like fabric thing. She was just digging.
Good.
Body language is very tight and internal and collapsed in on itself.
Nothing is wrong with
He's just absorbing.
Show me.
Do it.
Yeah. Prove it.
It is very hard to orgasm in front of another person.
Right. And that's the thing. It doesn't have to physically come from another person. Even just doing it in front of someone else can be a good baby step.
I would argue it might be more intimate because they are seeing everything happening. They are seeing legs spread open wide and exactly the way that you want things to be done. Also, they definitely contoured his abs.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it. I want it known. I want it said. She's taking the shirt off. Panties, her bra's down, the shirt's down. He took his stuff off as well. So we just see collarbone up for her. We're implying nudity. She sits down on the bed. He sits down in the chair, and they are just making heavy eye contact. And she is implying simulated digital stimulation here, and so is he. And see, this is what I'm saying. All we need is a little shoulder motion, and we get it. All right, we see eyes, Ooh, yeah. He's commanding her eye contact. I love it.
Yes, stay with me. He doesn't want her to, like, wander off.
Both of her shoulders are moving, which I'm not sure what the story is, but I get it. Like, it makes sense. Okay, so it's that arm. Got it. Toes are crinkling. Breath is heightening. They are looking away from each other. And then she falls back on the bed. A very quick orgasm, and they did orgasm at the same time, which I know, Morgan, is your favorite thing.
I'll allow it.
He lies down next to her, and they feel intimacy
No.
and connectedness
Thank
and
you,
closeness. But where did all of his business go?
Wait, and then they did a fist bump.
They did a fist bump.
I love the fist bump.
I love a
'Cause
little
they're
awkwardness.
friends.
And then he feeds her. We've talked about this a million times. Sometimes they don't want to show where the liquids went. Where did the liquids go for him, though? Because his toes curled too, his head goes back. It is implied they both orgasmed at the same time. Maybe he's just holding his hand?
It might be in his other hand, or maybe he wipes it on the bed.
Okay. Possibly.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll allow it, and I don't really care. I just felt I needed to bring it up.
Sure. It's a fair point. I do think the orgasm at the same time is overused. I'll allow it for this scene because the story of this scene is connectedness. And the whole point of this is we're doing this together. He says, stay with me. He wants to maintain eye contact. So for me, orgasming at the same time is part of that story. It's not just a cheap way to show like, oh, they're meant to be because they're going to orgasm at the same time. His focus is to stay connected with her. So for me, it goes with the story.
I believe the story is that her orgasm makes him orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that as
Yeah.
a story. Like, I think it works even better because they are not having penetrative sex together. You know exactly what you like in your body. I mean, assuming you're the kind of person who has explored that.
But her character, she establishes that's true for her.
We assume that has been true for him as well, that he has explored that within himself. That was very fast that they both orgasmed. But also, when you know yourself that well, you can orgasm that quickly. And like, I'm happy with it. I thought it was really well done. The shoulder movements made sense. I think the story with her was slightly unclear for a split second. But I believe she's just grabbing her thigh with one hand and simulating with the other. So there was a lot of shoulder differences. Because for a split second, I thought we were back in Pen 15 territory with the both hands. But no.
I think she was stimulating with the same hand that touched her thigh, but she might be moving her pelvis a bit and is like undulating her body. And that's why her shoulders were both moving.
I'll allow it.
All right. Ariel allows it.
Ariel allows it. And that's its own segment from now on. When the bodies match the authenticity of the movement, Ariel allows it. What do you think?
I love it. I didn't notice the first time I watched it that it's her orgasm that precedes his. It's implied that he is holding off his orgasm until she has hers, which makes sense because that's why we're here. And he's also putting her pleasure first, just generally. I loved they were showing that getting into sex doesn't have to be sexy the whole time. You can have like goofy, silly moments, and that can help relax you. And that relaxation and connection can naturally lead into sexiness and sensuality. It doesn't have to be this really serious thing. And I think especially for younger people, for people who are having a newer experience, like her having a partnered orgasm post the assault, like I think that's so extra important.
Let's spice scale. Welcome to the Spice Scale, our not-so-scientific way of rating intimacy scenes based on consent and power dynamics, technical craft and coordination excellence, and heat factor. Each category gets a score from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. Then we add it all up to give the scene a final letter grade. So we'll start with consent and power dynamics, how the scene depicts consent and power in the story, and if known, behind the scenes.
In terms of consent, the scene is a 5. That's obviously a goal of the actors. For the power dynamics, he's consistently throwing the power to her. She comes in and she's like, do me. Let's go. And he's like, slow down, which like is him taking the reins a bit. But then he's like, why don't you choose a song to put on? When he has the idea for them to do mutual masturbation, he pitches the idea and is like, if you're open to even hearing it, like he's constantly putting the ball back in her court, which I really appreciate because it's like what you were talking about, her feeling empowered after having this experience where she felt very disempowered. And I think that's also part of what helped her feel relaxed, is she still felt like she was in control. She was making choices.
There's that phrasing, if the no isn't real, then the yes is meaningless. He's constantly giving her a choice. And she feels that she has the space to say no if she wants to. They're very cute together. And the tension in her body language and in her shoulders drop. You see her release breath. And yay, intimacy coordinators. I can tell you all worked on this. Fully consensual 5. And that's a high 5, you know?
That is a high 5 to Catherine Cadler, the intimacy coordinator for this project.
Excellent.
Well done, Catherine. Technical craft coordination excellence, the staging, film coverage, modesty, protection, choreography, and overall execution of the scene.
Yeah, it was good. What I really liked is how they took their time. When they go to kiss, they really let the moment develop. They let the speed progress naturally. They let the breath get heavier as it goes along. We see slow movement of the shoulder, then faster movement of the shoulder. We see the toes curl. We see the neck arch. All of that was excellent. The one thing that bothered me, it's not a bad choice. I just would have made a different one, maybe. The whole time, he's like, look at me. And then they look away from each other when they orgasm. And I was like, well, that kind of defeated the purpose a little bit.
Yeah. I noticed that this time, you know how the brain registers an orgasm and sneeze in the same places?
Sure.
I wonder if it's like a sneeze where it's like it's impossible to keep your eyes open while you sneeze. Maybe for them, it was hard to keep the eye contact while they orgasmed.
It's possible, but I feel like the whole scene is surrounded around this idea of connectedness, like you were saying. It's so much about that thread between them. There is a moment where he says, look at me, and we have an extreme close-up of his eyes, extreme close-up of her eyes, looking at each other. And then when they both orgasm, he also isn't looking at her. He's like up here, and so is she, and her eyes are closed. I can create any level of context for why they decided to look away, whether the director was like, I think it's more meaningful if we have a more exaggerated orgasm moment.
I feel you. It's definitely a much more intense choice to maintain eye contact while they're looking at each other.
Sneeze or otherwise.
Totally. Yeah, I think it would have been a more consistent through line. For me, I wasn't too bothered by it because I was like, these are young people. It might be too intense for them. So for me, I would be like, maybe 4.5 on that choice because I'm like, it still worked for me. It didn't like ruin the story. Yeah, it would have been really powerful if they had maintained the eye contact. And you could have shot it in a way where they weren't in the same room. Like we could have like stayed on their eyes. Like we already had that shot set up.
I want to give it a 4 for that reason.
Sure. 4.
And also, do we know anything behind the scenes?
The director Bright said it was one of her favorite scenes because it's so emotionally driven. They were really intentional about not having any nudity behind the scene, like on-camera nudity, because that's not what the scene's about. There's nudity in the show, but this scene is about vulnerability. So it's more about the emotional nakedness rather than their physical nakedness.
See, that's so interesting. Because when I think vulnerability, I usually use that as an example of when nudity is warranted. When you're literally and figuratively naked in front of someone. And this is what my issue is with the other parts of the show. I feel like their nudity is confusing to me. In like the first, possibly second episode, I can't really remember, the roommate comes in and she throws her top off, and very suddenly she's topless in the room. And Hannah has no real reaction to this. Like, this is a very normal thing that happens in their life. But as an audience member, I'm like, why? What was this for?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't need this.
Yeah.
And then we also, I believe the same episode, when Garrett and Kendall are having sex, things are getting hot and heavy, and then suddenly she is topless, and I'm like, okay, all right, I didn't need it, but sure, like, here we are. And it's not to say that just because you're the lead of a show, you should be the one that is nude in the scenes. I'm just saying those other two moments where we do see topless nudity for women, I don't understand the purpose. I, as an audience member, felt really jarred by it, honestly, and confused. And then when it wasn't here, in a moment where they're so vulnerable and it's so intense and they're having this moment of interconnectedness, I would think that this would be that moment. I could see the thinking where nudity might take away from the experience of just focusing on the emotional aspects. But then why do we have nudity in the other parts? Why do we have nudity at all?
I remember the scene you're talking about. I also felt jarred by it. Maybe looking back after this scene, I don't know if this was the intention or not. Maybe it was to show how her roommate is much more comfortable in her body at this time than Hannah is. Not just when she's being physically intimate, but Hannah in general has some tension in her body. She usually feels a bit uncomfortable in her skin. And I don't know, maybe she was that way before the assault happened. Maybe it's heightened because of that or only exists because of that. But she is like generally not very comfortable in her body and not very comfortable showing a lot of her body. They do make a point of that in the show. It's a big deal when she shows her cleavage when she's wearing like the sexy bunny costume later, right? And it's like so unlike her.
It could be the actor's boundaries. I don't really know. I just think it's interesting story-wise. What we are seeing as an audience doesn't completely track for me, although I'm hearing what you're saying, and that makes a lot of sense to me, particularly for this scene. I don't understand it tracking for the rest of what I've watched as far as this show, but I accept your answer.
Why, thank you.
You're so welcome. All right. Heat factor, the level of erotic charge or sexual tension in the scene. I think it's hilarious that you and I give everything a 5. The heat factor is usually the shortest conversation. It's like either it was great or it fucking wasn't.
Right. That's the thing is like heat factor, I feel like is such a gut thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones are a little more intellectual, but I'm like, did it feel effective? Like, were you getting hot watching the scene? Did you recognize that it's hot or did it flop? You know?
Yeah. Truth. All right. Heat factor 5.
This scene with the approach of showing like all the things that his friend was saying, like make sure she feels comfortable, make sure she's relaxed. Like it could have felt like an after school special.
It could have.
You know, it could have felt like I am demonstrating consent and I'm sort of monkey wrenching this thing in here. I've been rewatching stuff from the 2010s and there's some scenes that come off a bit that way because we're trying so hard to get the point across that it either feels like a very special episode or it's too on the nose or it's a little preachy. And this scene manages to not do any of that and manages to keep it really hot. Even them dancing together, how relaxed it is. Even him saying like, oh yeah, you do that all the time? Show me. He stays with her and it's so sexy. So they make consent sexy without them feeling like a teacher sitting in a backwards chair being like, consent can be sexy.
And then they rap very suddenly.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That definitely could have been a concern. I didn't even think about that. That's what people are concerned about with the whole like, what do I need to like ask her if she's okay with it, like to kiss her and then ask her if she's okay to take off her shirt? I'm like, no, you don't need to do that. This is what you should be doing. This is a great example.
It can be a very relaxed, silly approach. Because I know on the flip side, a lot of men who are attracted to women get really nervous where they're like, I don't want to come off like a monster. And I want to make sure that it's clear that I'm here for her. And I'm like, he does it in a very intentional, but seemingly like effortless way that I think is such a good example.
Beautiful example of mindfulness and thoughtfulness. I approve. And it was hot as fuck.
Hot as fuck.
5. So that gives us, obviously, an A!
Woo! When we have a scene that gets an A, what do?
We ruin it!
All right, Ariel.
Get ready for this. You ready? I have the answer. They fuck. He ignores the shit out of her hand and her breathing and her tenseness, and they just fucking fuck. And you know what? She orgasms, because fuck it, why not? And he's like, I'm glad we did this. And then he says, get out of my room.
Yes. She keeps the uncomfortable dress on.
And he rips it open.
Rips the dress up. Ruins her roommate's dress. Nothing to walk home in.
Yeah, literally.
Throws her down on the bed.
And then the music is like, California, California in the city.
Yes. Yeah. Even though this show does not take place in California.
It doesn't matter.
We have a needle drop.
Or Closer by 9 Inch Nails suddenly pops up.
Great. I love that song, but it is so not right for the scene. Also, straight to penetration.
Yeah, just get that penetration out of the way.
0 foreplay. It's no play.
No play. Not 6 play. No play.
No play. There's no playfulness in this scene. He goes right in. She's ready to go immediately. She starts to get nervous, and he just powers through. Him powering through somehow makes her feel better. He has taken control. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes me feel safe. With my particular situation, a man taking control over my body makes me feel safe.
Giving me no choice whatsoever. I am at his will.
Yes. Which, to be fair, in another story could totally be the hot thing. For this character in this moment,
no.
Opposite of what she needed.
Oh my God. No. And or if you wanted to go in a slightly different direction, but the same direction.
Yeah.
Let the whole scene play out. And when they're masturbating on separate sides of the room, suddenly he stops and he gets in there. He gets right in. He's like, whatever we were doing, I'm done. I can't control myself or contain myself anymore.
I have another approach to ruining this scene.
Do it.
I want full, he is treating her like the most delicate, fragile flower that's ever existed. Which is the opposite of what she wants. Mm-hmm. She states that explicitly. And I think most people who've gone through that experience and are at this point don't necessarily want that experience where he's like, okay, are you okay? How are you? Like every 2 seconds, just checking in with her and infantilizing her.
Oh my God.
And every single chance he gets is like asking her all these questions, is unsure, which his uncertainty makes her feel unsure. And then they both feel awkward. And now she feels like she has to take care of him.
That is a sad scene you just painted, where he, like, literally that after-school special we were talking about. Is this okay? I guess. What about this?
Sure. Yeah. It's great. It's so great.
The worst.
He keeps bringing up the assault and him checking in on her.
He's like manually stimulating her, and he's like, are you thinking about that time?
I just want you to know that you can be safe with any man now.
I have a third way to ruin it. Stop looking at her. Only look at him and his journey. In fact, put a prosthetic penis on him and let's see his hand on his own penis. She barely exists. It's about his journey and his sexuality and his moment, you know?
It's not so much about mutual masturbation. It's like just her watching him and his sexual prowess.
Ooh, yes.
With his gigantic penis prosthetic.
Huge.
Just turns her on so much that she gets past all her trauma and trust issues and issues of safety.
Let's have him standing while she's sitting and he's just moving himself.
Standing over her.
Right at face level.
Ejaculates onto her chest and she's like, yes.
No. Oh no.
That's where it goes. Ariel, you were asking, where does it go? No. We answered your question. Is that not what you wanted?
I wish we hadn't.
Are you not entertained?
Oh God. We ruined it. I feel like we destroyed it.
Every which way. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yes, I have something to plug. It is on the app Drama Wave. It is a vertical, but it's called Offside Fake Marriage with Soccer Superstar. Really, really fun. I think it came out pretty well, so y'all should watch. Thanks so much for listening to Faking It. This episode's research and context was done by Morgan.
You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. New episodes drop every other hump day, Wednesday.
This was good for you. The best way to support our show is to follow the podcast and leave a quick rating or a review. It takes less than 30 seconds, and it really helps us.
And honestly, if you're at the point where you're listening to this
To these
part,
credits, yeah.
you want to. I think you want to. Or you can tell one friend who loves spicy movie secrets about us. Find us on social media at Faking It the Pod.
Hell, tell 2 friends. Do you want to get involved? Head to patreon.com/fakingitthepod. For just $1, you can request scenes for us to break down. For $10, you get bonus content and never-before-seen footage. And for $5, you can get a shout-out. Like the same listeners, Lee and Kiki Brown. We love you.
This episode was produced by Ariel Lee Cohen. Social media and branding by Morgan Smith. Our theme song is Faking It by Mike Getz. Credits for the film or show we reacted to are in the episode caption. Stay real, fakers.
Yeah.